Imani. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another video. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. I appreciate y'all. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about purchasing a car. So I recently purchased a car and I just didn't realize all the stuff that goes into purchasing a car, and I just wanted to kind of give you guys tips on what you can do to make your car buying experience a little easier. I personally didn't do much research. I just kind of did it off of a whim, kind of, sort of, but I still wanted to share my experiences with y'all so you guys can possibly have a better experience and just know what to do when you're getting a car. So my first tip is test drive all the cars you want. Now, I know that sounds crazy because it's why would I do that? But honestly, it's what's best. Now, I'm not gonna say go test drive literally every car you want, but if you want a car in 1 to 2 years, test drive it just to see if that's still what you want. Now, for me personally, I'm not going to go test drive a Rolls Royce because that's not a goal that I can set for 1 to 2 years. Maybe give me 5-10 years, I could work something up. But right now, that's just not realistic. So something that's realistic, 1 to 2 years. So when I was looking to get my new car, I test drove cars that were something I thought I could get within 1 to 2 years. Luckily, thank you, God, because I couldn't do it without him. He blessed me to get it way sooner than I anticipated, but I was still able to get it within 1 to 2 years. So if there's a car that you aspire to have within 1 to 2 years, go test drive it. I test drove, I want to say maybe 5 cars before I got mine. And honestly, it helped a lot because there were certain cars I test drove that I wanted so bad. At some point I'm yo, I'm going to get that car some point in my life. And I test drove and I was just it's not all that. So if you go into the dealership yo, I just want to test drive this car, I'm not trying to buy nothing today, I'm in the dreaming process, that's something you can say too, I'm in the dreaming process, I don't have the funds to get the car right now, so don't even try to sell me on nothing. Just be very stern. They can't say no. It's not illegal for you to go get a test drive. So I know sometimes people get discouraged from test driving a car because you feel you have to get the car right then and there, or you feel the dealership is going to persuade you to get the car. If you go in there and you say, no, I'm not trying to buy nothing, I just want to see if I still even want the car, then just go from there. And if you feel uncomfortable, they're saying, well, what's your number? Say, I'm not giving y'all that, give me your card. If you act like that and very stern, they can't deter you or say, no, we not going to let you test drive the car. So test drive all the cars that you think you would want in 1 to 2 years, just so you can get an idea of what car you would want, so you can narrow your choices down. So tip number 2, I actually have 2 tips for this, but I'm just going to kind of put them together. But my first half is to have the best credit as possible. I know sometimes you can't do much with your credit. Sometimes the score is just what it's going to be. But if you have any credit card debt, maybe a student loan that has a low balance, whatever the case is, just try to pay it off before you go purchase the car. Try to have your credit in tip-top shape before you go. Now, I will say this, when it's your first time purchasing a car, your credit can only be but so good. And I say that because if you don't have a car history or a house history, credit cards is good, but if you don't have a serious loan amount, a house or a car, I want to say a boat, something along those lines, your credit can only be but so good because you didn't build your credit history. I don't want to say you'll have an issue getting a car, but they may not give you the best deal, if that makes sense, because they'll be well, you don't really have credit history. They're going to say that, and there's really not much you can do. But say your credit score is in tip-top shape, just try to have the best credit score as possible. before you go, just so that they don't try to persuade you and say, oh yeah, it was this much because your credit score was jacked up or whatever. Just try to have the best credit score as possible. And then another tip is to just save money. Save as much money as you can. Now, there are situations where you don't have to put money down for a car, and they'll still give you a good deal, but still have some type of money put away so that if that is the situation where you do have to put money down, you're not like you're not kind of upset about it, because it's like, well, I did save up for this particular purchase, versus if you go into the dealership, you have no money, and you're like, well, dang, like I really, I messed up now. My car note is going to be skyrocket high because I don't have any money saved or whatever the case is. So just try to have some type of money saved. So if you have to put money down, it's there, and you didn't, it's there, and you're just like, yeah, I saved up for this anyway, so I'm not worried about it. So yeah, to have a good credit score and save money, those are important. So this is my third tip. Figure out if you want to finance, lease, or buy your car cash. In some circumstances, a lot of people saying buying a car straight up cash is the best way. Personally, I disagree with it. I don't think it's smart to put $15,000 on a car and just drive it off the lot. That's just my opinion, though. I just feel like you could take $15,000 and maybe put it, in multiple investments or spend it different ways. You get what I'm saying? So that's just my opinion. Other people have their preferences, but that's just mine. You may want to finance your car. Now, financing is when you take your car, the amount it's being sold for, and you finance it for a particular amount of time. Some people do 3 years, some people do 4, some people do 6. It all depends. The less amount on your finance term, the higher your note will be. So say you finance your car for 3 years, your note is going to be significantly higher than someone who finances it for 6 years. But if you finance it for less, the less interest you will pay on the car. So there's pros and cons to both. It really depends. Me personally, I suggest financing it for 6 years and just trying to pay it off aggressively, versus if you finance it for 3 years, your car note could possibly be like $900. Now, if you got it like that, hey, do you. But I know for me, right now, I got to do 6 years. Just saying. Now, you also may want to look into leasing. Now, I hear a lot of people kind of think negative about leases, but honestly, they're not that bad, and I will tell you why. You can, with most dealerships now, you can lease to buy, which means you can lease it to see if you like the car and then buy it after. So let me back up a bit. So a lease is basically you own a portion of the car. So if you lease a car, you're not gonna finance the whole amount of the car. You're gonna finance about half of the car. So because you're only gonna have it for a particular amount of time, so you don't own the car. Now there's pros and cons to that, because you're basically, it's kind of like renting a house. You're just basically, or renting an apartment. You're basically like throwing money out the window because you're not owning it in the end. But that's where lease to buying comes in. So if you lease a car for like 3 years and you're like, you know what, I really like this car, like I don't want to give it back, you can keep it and you can finance the remaining balance of the car. So say you leased $18,000 and the car was like $30,000, you would lease the other you would finance the other $12,000 that was on the car. The cons about leasing is that you have to have a contract on how many miles you're going to use. So they have some dealerships have 7,500 a year, 10,000, and 12,000. So depending on how often you drive, you may go over those term limits. And if you do, it's like 20 cents per mile. Now, it all depends. Like, if you don't mind forking out the bucks after you go over your lease, then go ahead, lease. It's not a big deal. But if you're someone that is like, oh no, I don't want to really like have to worry about my miles and I don't want to have to pay like the extra fees, then you may not want to lease. But that's where lease to buying comes in as well. You could be like, well, I went over my miles, but I'm gonna buy the car anyway. So who cares? Now, leasing, a lot of people do like leasing because you put your note is way less versus if you finance the car, because you're only using it for a certain amount of time. Pros to leasing is that you get a new car every 3 years or however long your term is. So if you're someone that's like, yo, I gotta be in the newest car like every 3 years, you may want to go with leasing. But I will say, when you go to the dealership, like, ask them, like, how often do you change the body style? If the dealer says, oh, we change it about every 5 years, you may want to go with leasing, because the body styles, like if you lease it for 3 years and then you lease it again, your next lease is going to be in the new car, versus if you finance it, as soon as you pay that car off, they're going to come out with a new body style. You get what I'm saying? And then you're like, well, dang, I'll just trade it in. But you literally just paid the car off. That's kind of annoying. So see how long they keep the body styles. If the body styles are for 7 years, you may want to finance it. It all depends on you. And then another pro to leasing is that everything in the car is under warranty, so except for tires. Let me make that clear. Tires are never under warranty. Unless you buy the road hazard thing, and usually so much is going on, sometimes you can forget to add those things to your car. So tires are never on warranty, but things like engines, brakes, stuff like that, those are on warranty, so you never have to like come out of pocket for things like that. Don't quote me, some places are different, but usually when you lease, you don't have to worry about things like that at all. So you really just have to decide what plan would work for you. If you're someone who likes new cars every 2 to 3 years, you may want to lease. If you're someone who looks forward to owning something, you may want to finance. And if you're someone who wants to just pay it straight cash, drive it off the lot, and never have to worry about it, just worry about gas and insurance, then you may want to buy your car cash. It's all up to you. Tip number 4, because I made this huge mistake and it just like threw my whole day off. Understand that buying a car takes all day. Now, I know some of you are probably like, that's common sense, but I didn't realize that. I thought if I got there at 9:30 in the morning, I would be done, and by maybe 11:30, and I would drive the car off the lot. No, it's an all-day thing, especially because the dealers sometimes try to play games with you and try to play you. And they, like, seriously, because when I got my car, I was literally there for almost 8 hours. So by that time, when they came back and told me my numbers, I was like, I've been sitting here all day, so I might as well get the car anyway, because y'all done wasted all my time. That's how they get you. Now, I wanted the car, so it didn't bother me, but it was like, why this had to take all day? So just like if you're going to purchase a car that day, just remember it takes all day, so don't have nothing planned. Just like, seriously, don't have nothing planned. Just work. That's your thing for the day. Don't have nothing planned after, because unless it's like later in the day. But yeah, because that's going to take up all your time. Now, I probably should have put this before what I just said, but you also want to figure out if you want to buy your car new or used. Me personally, I've had both. I've had a used car and I have a new car now. It really just depends on whether you want to finance or lease your car. If you plan to finance your car, you may want to just buy it used. But another thing is that when you buy it used, the warranty on it can kind of mess up, because they say, well, you bought it used, so the warranty longevity isn't the same. So it really all depends. A lot of people suggest buying it used because once you drive your car off the lot, it depreciates in value. Unfortunately, cars are just like that. I know. I wish it was like a house where as soon as you buy it, more than likely, it will go up in value and it'll be an investment. But unfortunately, cars are not like that. It goes down. So if you buy it new, it's going to depreciate as soon as you drive it off the lot, versus if you bought it used, it's going to depreciate, but it already depreciated. You get what I'm saying? So it's not a big deal to you. So you just have to figure out really what works for you. But a lot of people prefer used cars, sometimes just because of the value situation, but some people prefer new cars because it's under warranty, versus used cars. The warranty is kind of iffy. Honestly, you may want to know this before you even go test drive. You want to know how much you want your note to be. So like, if you say your note can't go over $200, like, you need to know that, because you need to let the people at the dealership know your budget. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have to have a figure in your mind before you go, because if you're not thinking about that figure, they can take you all the way out your budget without you even realizing. So just try to have a ballpark figure on how much you want your note to be, and tell them straight up, like, yo, this is how much I'm spending. You can't persuade me to go up. You can persuade me to maybe go lower, but you can't persuade me to go past this. So just have that in mind, because if you don't, the dealers can spin you out. And I know I'm making them sound like bad guys, but low key, like, they just slicksters. They're just slicksters. That's all. So you just got to keep your eye out for them. That's all. Now, I also suggest getting a quote on insurance before you purchase the car, like before you even go through the process, because car notes and car insurances are two different things. You can be someone that has a low car note, but your car insurance is going to be extra high because of your driving history. Unfortunately, car insurance history is just like credit history. If you have some messed up stuff on there, your note is going to be high. So try to get a quote on what you're looking at before you try to purchase the car, because you'll be disappointed if your car insurance is too high and it like messes up your budget, and you're like, well, I'm already in the process trying to get this car, so I'm gonna just have to bite the bullet. So try to just get an idea on how much your insurance would be before you go even try to purchase the car. So I just want to also tell you guys to negotiate. Just because you see a particular price sticker on the car does not mean that you have to pay that price. You can always talk them down and say, hey, look, 25, I'm not really feeling that. Can we do 23? Now, don't really say it like that, but just say, hey, can we work out a deal? Maybe 24,000, 23, and just like see how far you can go. Another thing, try to get numbers before they check your credit. So you could just say, hey, roughly my credit score is a 700, and they can cook up numbers with that credit score. I swear, like, don't listen to them say, oh no, I can't. Yes, they can. They can. Now, just keep in mind, those numbers are not accurate because they have not pulled your credit yet, but at least you have an idea of how much it's going to cost you to get that car. So if they pull your credit score, it may go up, it may go down. If it goes, it's possible it could go up maybe like $40, but just try to have some type of numbers that you can look over and think about. Also, when you decide to get the car, give yourself a day. So like, go there, test drive it, and then say, hey, I'm gonna come back tomorrow or in 2 days to get the car. Don't do it off the whim, because when you do it off the whim, you're usually excited. You're like, yeah, I'm about to get this car. Like, you're hype about it. Like, you should be. I mean, you're purchasing a car that you like. But give yourself a day just to think about it and process it. I gave myself a day, and I knew I still wanted that car. But I'm someone that does things off the whim. But my fiance was like, no, think about it. And I'm glad I did. So, you know, just try to give yourself a day. And if you still can't stop thinking about that car, that means that car was for you. Alright, y'all, that concludes this video. Please let me know if you liked the video. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up so I know that y'all like my advice videos. If you have any video suggestions that you would like me to do, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. And I love you guys, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.